Hello, welcome to this edition of Dirt Talk with Drake York, and we got the Placerville Speedway announcer Brad Kennedy with us. Brad, it's good to have you.
Thanks for being on the show. I've only requested it since day one, and it only took you 2 years to get me on the show. So
we've been slacking off a lot this year.
I can see that.
It's been a long hiatus, but I'm going to try to knock some of the rust off in this one. Brad's going to help me through it, even if this is not a very good one. Yeah. Anyway, Brad, we'll get started. How were you first introduced to the sport of racing?
I'm fourth generation in racing. This is my family's 56th year on my mom's side. My grandpa Kennedy owned cars. My dad owned cars, mechanic for a lot of years, and then my mom's side of the family in Northern California. You know, the Tyner name's fairly well known with the number 94 and 83. So I've been around my entire life. You know, and it's I've met a lot of great people over the years, and there's nothing like racing.
You've been around racing almost your entire life. What's your favorite memory from growing up at the racetrack?
Honestly, that's kind of a tough question. That's a tough one to answer. There's so many great memories. You meet so many good people. I think every race, I think there's a memory that you can carry out of the racetrack with. I wouldn't say necessarily memories, just more or less people that you meet. I think every race is kind of a memory that you keep somewhere.
Well, Brad, who did you look up to growing up? I mean, we know about your family. I'm sure they had to play a big role in your life.
Yeah, growing up, I had my cousin Steven. He's more like a brother to me. My cousin Steven and I have a very good relationship together. I have two favorite drivers. TK was one I looked up, Tim Kading. He drove for my uncle. They won a lot of races together in the ABC Renamix 17 in the early 2000s. And TK was always my favorite, and my cousin Steven. Those are my two heroes in racing. TK just exciting, balls to the walls, get you some, win. And my cousin Steven just, because it's my cousin, and I've always looked up to him. He's always been, my hero in life.
Did you ever try racing?
I tried a go-kart once, and honestly, the reason I never raced is just the expectations. Helping my cousin Steven, for as long as I have, go on the racetrack, no matter where you go, as someone walks up, oh man, I remember your Uncle Boo, when he raced, I don't like getting compared to people. I want to be my own person. That's probably why I never raced. I see him get compared to, what my uncle used to do or what my grandpa used to do, the older people, say, oh, I remember your grandfather, Johnny Tyner, at West Capitol when he raced, and Uncle Boo, and I feel like that would bother me if I race. I don't like getting compared, and the expectations are, I want to be my own person. That's why I announce, I can be known as my own person.
You talked about being your own person with announcing. When and where did you figure out you wanted to be an announcer?
When I was a little kid, I used to have the little die-cast cars, and I would sit in hours and hours and remember the names. You can ask me a number from 0 to 99. I can give you a driver, 3 main sponsors, 3 major accomplishments in their career, hometown, probably their crew chief too. So, it's just something I always wanted to do. I enjoyed it. As a kid, kids grew up watching cartoons and whatnot. I would have my Willie Flips and Photo Finishes videos on VHS and just be on rewind run. Actually, there's like 5 of them that don't even play anymore because they've been watched so many times. So it's just something I wanted to do, and it to me, if I couldn't do it in a race car, I can feel the energy, talking about it. So I think that just played a major role in it.
What's your favorite part about being an announcer here at Placerville?
The relationships you build with the drivers, more or less, and the fans. Being able to talk with, pretty much the same drivers. If I was an announcer, I wouldn't have met most of the guys, other than sprint cars. With my family's background, I knew most of the sprinter guys, but like announcing here at Placerville, I wouldn't have met a lot of the stock car guys that I've built great friendships with. So that's probably the biggest perk of it, is just the friendships and the people you get to know outside of your element.
What is your favorite annual racing event here at Placerville or anywhere else?
Honestly, it's probably memorial races, to be honest. I know Troy had the same answer when you interviewed him. It has a sentimental value to me. Like Fall Nationals, I haven't been the last year because we've had a race here at Placerville, but Stephen Allard had a major impact in my life. He raced from Uncle Rod. Him and Jonathan both got their first wins in Uncle Rod's car. They were Jonathan Allard and Stephen Allard were like family. And the Fall Nationals to remember Steven is probably the biggest race for me. And I don't know, in another race since I was a little kid was the Cotton Classic down in Hanford. It was always something that just I really enjoyed because the trophy is literally a 30-pound bag of cotton that you win, and that's the trophy, and that's always something, that's a race I've always kind of looked forward to, is Cotton Classic and the Fall Nationals.
What are your plans for your future?
Right now, it's kind of a roller coaster ride, something that kind of can't get in depth with right now. But been trying to, find ways or find time to do something, back like what we used to do with the Fish and D show, trying to get the ball rolling with that again. Just kind of difficult, being here and working not. But the ultimate goal was always to be on ESPN or the World of Outlaw announcer. But we'll see how that goes.
What do you like to, or what do you do as a day job?
Day job, warehouse. Do sales and warehouse inventory for a paint store down in Sacramento. They keep me pretty busy. It's 40 to 50 hours a week, so that keeps you pretty busy during the day, and that's about it.
What do you do in your spare time when you're not here at Placerville or not on your job?
Watching Mills Videos production, watching old school races like I did when I was a kid. You can never, as an announcer, you can never know too much. It keeps you up to date with things, and you might watch something you don't realize. That's I can go on hours talking about Jason York. Racing Chico back in the days. That was one of my favorite cars, the Napa 25 car. But I wouldn't know that if I didn't watch old racing videos on my spare time. So that's and it gives a conversation when you talk to someone.
I like the Napa car too. Bro.
Yeah,
you're not alone. Are you interested in any other sports?
Yeah, I've done, in high school, my radio coach, I did football games. I did the CVC championships for football. When I was senior in high school, I've announced baseball games. I've done, I've announced golf tournaments in my high school. I've announced basketball games. Versatility is a major thing, and you can apply it, as I've told you, announced here too, you can apply every sport into racing. In some way, you have to be good at fast pace, you have to be good at slow pace. When there's a rubber down track, you have to be good and paint a picture to make it interesting. So if you have your toes, dipped in the pool of every type of sporting venue, it helps you as an announcer.
And you talked about announcing all these different sports. How did you develop your announcing style?
To be honest, just watch a lot of old videos. You take me as an announcer, watching old like Gary Gerald and Dennis Gage, take a little bit from them, take a little bit from Troy Henning, a little bit from Bobby Gerald, a little bit from Bruce Ellis, from Williams Grove, and you make it your own. You put your own, and that's kind of, just a little, that's how I watch old racing videos. You take a little bit from every announcer and you make it your own person. I'm like the Paul Silva of announcing. Take a little bit of information from every crew chief you've been around and make it your own.
Yeah, you keep talking about the Paul Silva announcing deal, which I think is a great analogy. And Placerville Speedway, of course, you announce here on the weekly basis. What do you think is something that sets Placerville aside from different racetracks in California?
Placerville, I'm at the hill in turns 3 and 4, and you're so close to racetrack. Every track you go to in California, there's like a 15 to 20 foot gap, between the racetrack and the stands. Literally, you get off out of your seat and you walk down the stands. If there wasn't a fence there, you can touch the race cars on the front straightaway. Chico has a big gap, Petaluma, every track has a big gap. You're literally on top of the racetrack, and it's a tight quarter mile with the hill and turns 3 and 4 on the back straightaway. It just it's appealing to the eye because you honestly don't know what's going to happen. You can almost predict Chico, someone's going to drive over the edge, but you don't know what's going to happen here.
So, also, a while ago, you worked on the Placerville Speedway wins list. First off, what made you want to take on such a hard task like that?
Adam Ullery with Northwest Sprint History and myself, I mentioned it to him. I think every racetrack should have a win list. You have to appreciate the past, for the future. Everybody has made their mark at this racetrack, and you have to know your history to appreciate the future, which I guess is what I'm saying. But every track I believe should have an all-time win list. I think it's important. If you don't have that, then you don't have something for your racetrack. Every racetrack that's running needs to have an all-time win list to be able to appreciate why you're coming every Saturday.
I couldn't agree more with you on that. What was your biggest surprise about working on the Placerville Speedway wins list?
Andy Forsberg not having a 410 win list or 410 win here at the Placerville Speedway, and being the all-time 360 winner, and my uncle Boo being second on the all-time win list in 410s, and my grandfather being seventh.
How challenging can it be to work on something that hard like a wins list?
It took 26 months to do it. Literally, Placerville Speedway is one of the toughest places to do a win list because literally, there's a lot of people that promised to help me that didn't help me. And honestly, it was very difficult to work with the newspaper trying to find something. Literally, I had to go through photographers to try to find pictures of the winners for X amount of years. There was nothing on X. There was like 5 years where there was absolutely nothing you can find on the internet. So I had to contact photographers to get pictures of the guys to kind of finalize the win list. So it was very challenging. A lot of F-bombs in wee hours in the morning trying to compile this list, and we're still not finished with it. I mean, we're still missing about 5 years. The track opened in 1965. We're missing 1965 to 1970. So the first 5 years we don't have accounted for yet. So it's still a work in progress. And I started this in 2016, early 2016, just little notes and whatnot on win list, and I'm still not even close.
Geez, Brad, now that's what I call dedication right there. Also, who's been your biggest influence on your life?
In life, both my grandfathers, my Grandpa Kenny and Grandpa Tyner, they're two people that I can talk to because they've been there, seen that. They would do anything for me, and I don't respect anybody as much as I respect my grandfathers. My Grandpa Tyner, my Grandpa Kennedy, major influences in my life. My Grandpa Kennedy lives in Washington. I talk to him multiple hours a week, and with my Grandpa Tyner, I see him on the daily basis. So those two have the biggest impact in my life. And then as an announcer, Troy Henning. I can talk to Troy about anything, mistakes I make, what I think if I have an idea as an announcer, what to do. I bounce it off him, and I know I can get an honest answer from him. There's not too many people that are as genuine as Troy Henning, and he's been a great friend since I was about 6 years old. So Troy Henning, me as an announcer, has been a major impact.
That's going to wrap up our show today. Thank you, Brad.
Appreciate it.
That's going to end our show today. Make sure you come out here to Placerville Speedway. In fact, just go to any racetrack in California. It really helps out that racetrack and that community as well.
Before we sign off, don't forget to follow Placerville Speedway at Pville Speedway for live updates and results. Make sure to use hashtags Baddest Bull Ring. That way we know you're in the grandstands having a good time. And follow us on Facebook, and hopefully everybody comes out and we get as much support as we can here. It's the Baddest Bull Ring in California.